What's up, Met fans? Welcome back. Talking Mets and Rob. How's everybody doing? Before I get started talking about Fangraphs projections for the Mets record in 2022, don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you're enjoying my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live, you guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. Alright, guys. So, over the past week, Fangraphs always comes up with record projections for all major league teams for that actual season. In this case, 2022. Right before spring training, they always come out with some type of record for each and every team for that season. And according to Fangraphs, the Mets record was probably more shocking to a lot of Mets fans and baseball fans, considering their overall record, their placement in the NL East, and when you look at the overall records of all the teams that we will look at when we get a chance, it's very weird to me that the Mets, who had one of the better off seasons before the lockout, from maybe two or three other teams that were probably better, it's a little odd that Fangraphs projected these wins and their overall record and where they placed in the NL East, according to Fangraphs. So, when it comes to the NL National League and the American League, Fangraphs thought of different records for different teams that would make their opinion or their records or their stance on records for each individual team based on the current rosters before the lockout. You can understand where they're coming from somewhat. It seems like they based it on injuries. It's based on overall roster at the moment and a couple of other things. But to focus on directly with the New York Mets, we are going to look at the NL East and the rest of the league to see where they fell and where did it make sense and where did some of it make sense. And that's what we're going to look at right here, guys. So, looking at Fangraphs projections for the NL East, we're going to look at it right here, guys. Alright, guys, so the 2022 records for the NL East teams are as follows. The Braves coming in at first place at 90 and 72. Our New York Mets coming in second place with 88 and 74 record. The Philadelphia Phillies rounded up third place with 82 and 80. The Florida Marlins round out fourth place with 80 wins and 82 losses, and the Nationals come in dead last in fifth place with 75 and 87 record. So what you see right here from just the Fangraphs projections is that they still think the World Championship Braves are the best team in the division at the current moment with these rosters in place at the moment with 90 wins. Now, in my opinion, I think there's going to be a little bit more competitive value placed on the NL East that Fangraphs didn't really notice. Granted, there's three teams that are over 500 in the NL East. But to put the Braves, who basically at this moment have no outfield, they don't have Freddie Freeman signed as of yet, and they're still projected to win the NL East and win 90 games. When the New York Mets got one of the best pitchers on the market in Max Scherzer, a very good center fielder, and two solid professional baseball players in Escobar and Kana, you would think the Mets would probably at least break 90 wins or be even on 90 wins. I think the Mets are the better team in the NL East at the moment because I don't feel like the Braves are going to get that spark they got from their outfield, especially when they don't have Acuna. Yes, they got Swanson. Yes, they got Albies. Yes, they got Garneau. But there's still a big question mark about Freddie Freeman, and they have not done it. If Fangraphs is projecting these records based on the current roster before the Major League Baseball lockout, then they really miss the representation of the NL East. Because at the moment, I understand they want to give respect to the world champions in the Atlanta Braves, but it does not make sense to put the Mets under the Braves or at least have a 2-game lead over the Mets, in my opinion. I do think the Mets are the better team at the moment with the current roster, and there's a pretty good chance that Freddie Freeman might go somewhere else. Not including Ronald Acuna. We don't know when he's going to come back. He's projected to come back around the All-Star break, but that's if his rehab goes well and everything goes well. And we all know when it comes to injuries, when these guys come back from injury, it takes some time to ramp back up. And that's a big loss for the Atlanta Braves. And you could say, well, they didn't have him in the playoffs. True. But they also don't have the outfield ready to go either. So the outfield is basically bare bones at the moment. And I do not think the Atlanta Braves deserve to be at the number 1 spot. I think the Mets do. Not by a large margin. I think the 2 games is still reasonable. But I do think the Mets should have at least 92 wins with this current roster. And I don't think the Braves should have 90 wins because I don't see where it's coming from. Their rotation is in shambles as well. Their rotation can't be healthy. That's another thing you have to look at. And I think the Mets rotation has gotten better with the Jacob deGrom, with Scherzer, and the other guys that are supposed to be healthy as well. Granted, the Mets have question marks in the rotation health-wise, but if you look at just record and overall health from every team, I do think the Mets should have a better record. I project the Mets to have 92 wins at the current moment with this roster. And the other thing that kind of annoys me about Fangraphs is looking at the projections for the entire league. And we're going to look at it right here, guys. So looking at the AL East, they have the New York Yankees having 90 wins in first place with a rotation that has more question marks than so many other teams in major leagues. They're not sure about Luis Severino. Who knows what can actually happen with Garrett Cole? We don't know if he's going to return to his former self when he was using the sticky stuff. And that goes for a lot of pitchers. But with Garrett Cole, there's a question mark there. And the rest of the rotation, we have no idea what this rotation is going to look like. They do got prospects coming in the system that can possibly be in this rotation. But with Luis Severino, who hasn't been healthy in a long time, is projected to basically be the number 2 starter, that's a big question mark. Besides Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, there's not a lot to be happy about and to look forward to as a New York Yankee. So I don't understand how they get the overall AL East, in my opinion. I personally think the Blue Jays should have 91, 92 wins. I think they should be at the top of this division. And when it comes to the AL Central, that I get. I'm a little shocked that they have the Guardians in second place over the Tigers or the Twins. The Tigers, I think, are going to, show a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little above 500. But the White Sox make sense at number 1 because there ain't really nobody in that division that can compete with the Chicago White Sox. Then when we look at the AL West, somehow, someway, the Astros, even losing Correa, are still on top of this division because who's really going to take over them, right? The Angels could make a big push, possibly, but that's something that they still have to look at. They still have to find a rotation. They did get Noah Syndergaard to help out that rotation. The Athletics seem like they're going to be trading a couple of pitchers. They might trade Olsen, they might trade Chapman, and that's where the AL West stands. When we come to the NL Central, the Cardinals and the Brewers are neck and neck, a game apiece. So that's understandable because I think the Cubs are going to be better than the Reds. I think they're going to do some things in the last part of the offseason when the lockout ends. I think the Cubs can be third, but it does make sense that the Cardinals and Brewers are 1-2 fighting for that division. And in the NL West, we already know the Dodgers are probably going to be the cream of the crop in the National League in general, but definitely in the NL West. Yes, the Padres are going to go after them a little bit, but I do not think that the Padres, after the downfall they had last year, I don't think they're going to challenge the Dodgers. They might have a wild card spot. The Giants, they lost Gausman, so that's going to hurt them a lot. They possibly might lose Chris Bryant. So that's 2 big pieces that the Giants are just going to lose. So at 500, I can see that. The D-backs and the Rockies are garbage. They're terrible, and that's understandable as well. But there's a few things. The AL East, the Yankees should not be atop. The Blue Jays should get more credit than they are. The White Sox make sense. The Astros, yes, because the AL West is not that good. I do not like the NL East projections. I think the Mets should be over the Braves just based on the rosters right now and who's currently on these rosters and what the Mets already currently did. With the Phillies not doing nothing, the Marlins not doing nothing, the Nationals not doing nothing, and the Braves haven't really done nothing either. So that's one of the big problems I have. The NL Central, the Cardinals and Brewers, sure, fine. And the Dodgers and Padres, of course. But when we get it back to the NL East and the New York Mets, the New York Mets should be on top of this division projection-wise. I'm not sure what Fangraphs is looking at, and it's very disappointing because the Mets in the entire NL East did more than any other team at the current moment because you can't project what the teams are going to do. Fangraphs did say that they projected these records based on the rosters currently situated, which means that the Braves have 90 wins and the Mets have 88. That does not make sense to me. I think the Mets currently could possibly have 90 or 91 wins, possibly 92. But if I'm going with the current roster, I think the Mets have to get the bit over the Atlanta Braves by at least 1 or 2 games. I do think the Mets should have 91 to 92 wins, which puts the Braves in the 89th to 90th win total. That's what I see, and that is why I think Fangraphs completely missed the bit on the NL East and the AL East, but specifically the National League East. The New York Mets are not getting given enough credit what they have done this offseason, and it shows publicly, especially with Fangraphs. Once again, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you enjoy my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos, and when I go live, you guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think of the 88-74 record of the New York Mets projected by Fangraphs? Do you think it's on point with the roster the Mets currently have and the overall rosters of the NL East teams? Or do you think the Mets should have more wins or less losses or less wins? It's up to you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. I really appreciate all the support, guys. And as always, Mets fans, let's go Mets.